Hi, my name is Ann Monaghan,
And I'm Ryan Ballack.
and both of us have been both campers and camp counselors, and we wanted to talk about the motivation that goes into being a camp counselor.
Camp is the place to channel your inner kid. You have the opportunity to do any activity you want at any time of the day. You can establish relationships with your co-counselors and campers that can last a lifetime. Now here is the basic job description that you have at a summer camp. Right? So you have 100+ hour work weeks, which seems like a lot, and that's because it is. Being a camp counselor is a 24-hour-a-day job. You are in a remote location and you really can't go anywhere. You literally sleep at your job for 2 straight months. You have to care for the well-being of your children. You're basically a parent. You're assigned 10 kids that you and your co-counselor are responsible for the entire summer. Each day you'll be assigned to a different activity or at the same activity, and you're responsible for teaching these children new skills. Each counselor is assigned to a specific activity during the day. My activity was tennis, where I would teach kids all different playing abilities how to play tennis. You always have to have a constant high energy level. It's easy for girls, but for guys, not so easy. And the last part, there's a set salary for the entire summer. You're paid at the end of the summer, and usually you don't receive your salary in full unless you make it the entire summer without being fired. So clearly there are some ways that you need to motivate, and why counselors aren't motivated are based on some motivational issues for why counselors may not want to do the best possible job that they can while being a counselor at summer camp. The low pay. At our camps, we made about $1,500 for 2 months of work. That's less than $200 a week. So pay clearly is not the big motivational factor here. Long hours. As I said earlier, 24-hour-a-day job. Campers are not the easiest people in the world. Campers aren't always perfect. Kids like to stay up late when they're supposed to be in bed, and they like to do their own things and not listen to counselors. You have very little time off at your job. Over a 2 month period, you get around 4 days off and 4 nights off the entire summer. You're working a lot. And last but not least, a lack of praise. There are not a lot of people around to distribute praise because you live with your campers and the head staff does not live with you. Most of the things you do on a daily basis are not being praised for by upper level people.
Ryan and I talked about our training and the current plan that was in place at the summer camps we worked at, and we came up with a few parallels between it. At both of our camps, we went about a week or two before campers arrived, and we had beginning of the summer training to set the guidelines that we needed to follow for the whole summer. The camp directors set clear expectations for us and set protocols for dealing with specific situations. And additionally, the former counselors who had worked there before shared some stories and gave helpful tips that we could use for the summer. And then throughout the summer we had weekly meetings where the entire staff would come together and we would gauge the process of our whole group together. Generally these meetings were pretty short and we only discussed like actions and situations that really stood out to the head staff. And these could range from shortcomings associated with our whole group to individual praises for dealing with specific camper situations. At both of our camps that we worked at, there was a one-strike policy. So that meant in most situations, you made one mistake and you were fired. Obviously, incidents were taken on a case-by-case basis, but head staff made it abundantly clear that if you weren't following one piece of the protocol laid out in the summer training, that it could really cost you your job. And additionally, Ryan touched on this, but pay was withheld until the end of the summer. And so money was really a key motivating factor at both of our workplaces. Paychecks were either paid in 2 installments or they were paid in full at the very end. So that meant that you were like continually obligated to be doing a great job at your job for the whole summer or risk not being paid the full amount. Obviously there's a couple of issues with that. Mainly both of our camp counselor positions were really centered around money. And that was just the key motivator. Also, the one-strike policy leaves counselors in fear that one tiny misstep could really cost them their job, and that really inhibited creativity at both of our camps. And also, intrinsic motivation was not a big factor in the current plan, which leads us to the creation of our new plan. So in order to fix the way our camps motivated us, we looked at Daniel Pink's book, Drive, and he said that money was not an appropriate motivating factor. He said that managers should really focus on fulfillment rather than just the monetary rewards. So this is especially important for counselors because of the lack of rewards that Ryan mentioned earlier. So to create a sense of fulfillment, camp directors should focus on purpose, autonomy, and mastery.
To fulfill purpose, you want to give your job a sense of meaningfulness. So, in order to achieve this, during the training period before camp, you should make counselors fill out personal goals for themselves. Make the goals important to the counselors so that it gives them a sense of purpose and a chance to achieve those set goals. And the director also, throughout the summer and at the end of the summer, should send out surveys to parents so they can receive feedback for the counselors. The counselors will be able to hear direct positive feedback on your impact on their children. Showing how much the parents appreciate the work you are doing gives the job purpose. The survey also allows the counselors to hear the children's thoughts about them and get a gauge on how well they are performing. Another thing you can do to give this job purpose is hiring former campers and counselors. By hiring former campers and counselors, the new staff members can see how special the bond can become between a counselor and a camper and make the new staff want to be able to share that feeling as well. This will motivate counselors to have a sense of affiliation and want to take part in that special bond. For autonomy, to fulfill that sense of autonomy, you should give counselors the ability to be in charge of their own daily activities. Give counselors the freedom to design their own activities and games at the certain job they are assigned. For example, let the baseball class have a home run derby or a slip and slide for one day to help the kids practice their sliding technique and have fun at the same time. Another technique you could implement is to establish a certain cabin night where counselors in their cabin can design their own activity that they wouldn't normally be able to do on a normal night. This gives the cabin creativity on those nights and allows the cabin to bond, and you pretty much can do whatever you want and have fun at the same time. To give to give yourself that sense of mastery, mastery can be achieved at both the daily activities you teach and the way your children behave in the cabin. Seeing kids improve in the skills you are teaching them tells you how good a job you are doing teaching them. And in the cabin, if you have children who are misbehaving or frequently getting homesick, you can see improvement and a mastery of your craft by eliminating those problems and having the best possible cabin, creating the best experience for those kids.
We also think that extrinsic motivators are also important in our new plan. In order to reward counselors for doing an excellent job, we recommend having a single counselor of the week that is announced at the weekly staff meeting that we mentioned earlier. This person would receive little rewards like an extra day off and a $50 bonus at the weekly staff meeting. This will really cause counselors to be constantly striving for greatness. Additionally, we believe that there should be a cabin of the week. Campers and counselors would be given special off-site activity and a later curfew and also extra treats from the canteen. Rewarding the campers would really help the counselors to successfully lead them.
And we believe that implementing our plan will lead to a more positive experience for the campers, the counselors, and the head staff. Happy campers equals a happy staff, and which equals the best possible time at camp for everyone, and that is what this plan is made to do. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and hope you guys implement our plan if you ever plan on opening a camp.